You're on stage and there's all these people cheering for you, high-fiving. And honestly, and not to sound arrogant by any means, but that's somewhat easy to create.
That's not the true talent of why you're doing it and how you're showing up. That just comes along with the big show energy, I call it.
Yeah.
Big show energy, you know?
Exactly. It's the little things. And God really showed up for me.
Welcome to the Impact Effect Podcast, and I have Brock Zevan in the studio. We're here at Music City Work Club in the brand new Honeypod studio, and we're coming off of the Nashville Success Summit that we just had in this building. Over 100 professionals, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, and when I tell you that Brock created a massive impact, ooh, baby, I don't even think I can describe how big it was. But as you know, Impact Effect Podcast fashion, I always ask the same question to kick this bad boy off. Brock, how do you define impact, and how do you show up in the world and provide positive impact today?
Well, first and foremost, good morning, brother. And I apologize for my voice. As you said, we're literally coming off of this probably less than 9 hours later. Here we are in the morning. 5:30 in the morning. Here we are. And it's been a crazy 2.5 days. But thank you so much for having me on your show. Impact to me, I think you saw it for the last 2 days. It's building family, it's building culture, and it's leading from the front. I'm a very big believer when people see me like, man, I see you over here, I see you over here, I see you over here. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure your life's like that too, where you're trying to get up early to get your kids to school. Oh, by the way, you got to go to the grocery store. Oh gosh, somebody is sick. Oh, we have to go to we have soccer practice. We have a musical we have to go to. Oh, we have to work. There's so many different things in our life. And so I think the biggest impact is just by leading through it, by leading by example, by being that person, the law of attraction from John Maxwell, of just being like, you know what? I'm going to show up. I'm going to lead from the front, and I'm going to invite others along the journey and the ride, and let's freaking go at it, and let's see what happens.
Let's go, man. Lead from the front, baby. Is there anything, because I watch you on your socials, you put out a ton of content. Obviously, we're good friends. We talk often. We speak together on stages. What's the one thing that you could share with the audience that has helped you continue? And that's the key word here, continue to navigate and lead from the front.
Well, I think it starts by having that passion and that drive. And really, you know, this morning I was tired, and just like you, and we were talking about it last night. They're like, when can we do that? It's like, I don't even know, 9 o'clock at night. We're like, hey man, when are we going to do this podcast? I'm like, I got to go back home today. I got to pick up my son at 3:30 Eastern time. I'm like, the only time I could do it is 5:30
a.m. folks, yeah. 5:30 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, and my girlfriend's like, what are you doing? And I'm sure your wife was probably like, Jim, well, you just spent 2.5 days with the guy. But I think how do you do it? It's knowing, and for those of you that are really leaning into this, it's your why. For me, what makes, like you just told me you had to get up at 1:30 in the morning because you have a little one home that's sick. You don't want to. You're freaking exhausted. You even Googled it and tried to figure out the closest place was closed. And so you traveled 19 minutes one way, 19 minutes back. And I'm sure there was time that you were exhausted. You were drained. I think in those moments, something inside of us transforms for us to continue to move forward. But until you get to that point, until you get to that breaking point, you don't know your limit. And you have to keep pushing forward. And to me, that's my kids, just like it was for you. Because if I said, hey, Jim, I'm not feeling good, could you get up at 1:30? You wouldn't even answer the damn phone, I'm sure. Because I'm not your why. I'm not your purpose. I'm sure if it was your wife, you would have done the same thing. Sometimes even our wives or significant others, we kind of question them even still and be like, hey, I mean, do you really need it? I mean, is it going to be okay? Like, do you think it can last like 2 more hours and then I'll get up and go? But there's that why. whether it's your children, whatever it is, it's that passion. And to me, it's my kids, because I almost lost them because of my alcohol disease. And I never want to have that feeling again, because you can't control it when DSS, when this disease comes at you and divorce comes at you. Those are items you can't control. And the only person you can control is the person you look in the mirror. So at 119, you controlled yourself. You made a hard decision. And you reached over and you said, you know what? I'm going. And so to me, it's finding little moments like that throughout your day, throughout your life, and just embracing it and being like, you know what? F it. Let me do it. Let me rise up. And I think that's really what keeps me going, is I always want to be on top. I always want to win. I always want to be like, you know what? My kids are counting on me, and you know what? I'm going to be okay.
It's funny because as I got up and woke up and, an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep, mid-morning, I thought to myself, do I really have to do this? Mm-hmm. And then I thought to myself, I don't have an option. Mm-hmm. This is the most important thing. And I think for me, I'm always trying to think like, all right, what can I just do right now that's needed most? What can I do that's right in front of my face? How can I be present with it? Mm-hmm. Right? And, little baby James, yeah, he is the why, right? And I know you know this, but for those listening, he's our rainbow baby. We lost 2 kids before that. I almost lost Caitlin the second time. And I didn't want to have another child. I was scared. I was timid. And Caitlin's actually the one that said, no, I know my body. I know my heart. I know my soul. We're going to do this thing. Mm-hmm. And here we are. Mm-hmm. So in those moments where I'm literally dragging myself out of bed, I start to think, and this is what helps me, is do I want to be Superman or do I want to be Clark Kent when my family needs me?
Yeah.
And I show up with that motherfucking flag, baby,
yeah,
hanging from the back,
Well, before you go, I want to challenge you on something. I hope you don't mind on your show. I challenge you.
I like it, baby. Let's go.
For those that are listening here, he said something. Jim said something, and he said, I didn't have an option. We all have an option. You did have an option. You could have stayed in bed. You just make better choices. So to me, for those listening and hearing, we all have the same option that Jim had. We all have the same option when we set our alarm. We all have the same option of what food we put in our mouth, what book we read, what video we watch, what time we wake up, what time we go to bed, what call we're going to make. It's just the compound effect that if we continue to make the right choices of the options, we're moving the needle in one direction or the other. And last night you moved the direction to take care of your family, take care of your child, to make sure that he was healthy. And you didn't want to put discomfort into your wife because you want to be like, hey, hon, you go to the store. I'm really tired. Woe is me. Victimhood, right? She'd be like,
yep.
No, Jim. But as a family man, as a father, you step up. So I'd ask people, like, where do you need to step up? Where is it in your life that you need to make better choices, because we all have the same options?
I love that, man. I love that. It's funny because the why caused me to not even think that I had an option, to just run full steam ahead.
Right.
Right.
That's the difference of your wiring mechanisms. You get reprogrammed differently. Because think about our party days, our drinking days, like we still had those same options there, but we weren't wired the same way as we are wired today, because that's through experience, growth, those certain things that we need to go through to grow through to make the better choices that we do today.
To grow through. I like that one, man. That one's going on right next to the laptop screen, baby. Remind myself all day, every day.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about this Success Summit. Mm-hmm. We just came off of 2.5 days, VIP night at the Preds game, full 2 days, right? Right. VIP parties down at Luke Bryan's on Broadway after a 10-hour day, bring it back the next day, another 10-hour day, and then another, event right after the conference. you're someone that pours it all out. When you make a decision, you go all in. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to that all in point, a little bit about what goes through your mind during those decisions? Because, I believe that you were so successful in this event because every single person, every single ticket holder, every single attendee could really feel that you weren't holding back. You were going all in.
Yeah. So I think the all-in version, or what you see, starts from the choice when I decide to what avenue. So, as you heard last night, we're going to New Orleans is the next one.
Let's go.
Yeah. And when we made the decision, because you were a part of it, when we came to Nashville, because you were a huge ingredient for this event, and I'm so thankful of you and what you poured into me, because you're a part of it, is, the all-in is the experience you want people to walk away with. You hear many times, people don't remember everything you say, but they damn well remember how you made them feel. Even if you think back of your childhood days, there's a moment that you remember. Maybe your mother said something to you, your father said something to you, a coach, teacher said something to you, made you feel a certain way. For 2.5 days, our brain cannot remember every freaking conversation that we had. It's too overwhelming. But you might remember, man, that was my first hockey game, which some of the people there is their first hockey game. And there could be 2 years, 3 years down the road at a hockey game or going to a hockey game, or somebody like, hey, have you ever been one? Like, yeah, I actually had. I went to a conference and I went to a hockey game. They could be talking about that experience and how it made them feel years down the road. They could be talking about, I've never been on a shuttle bus to go to a bar in Nashville, Tennessee. I've never been on Broadway. That was really cool for me to experience that. I never had somebody play live music at an event during lunch. That was pretty cool. I experienced that. It made me feel something. You helped me get drummers with those 5-gallon drummers coming into an event. I had people tell me wow, that was really cool. I never had that. I've only seen that on the bar and I don't even remember those nights. Right? So the all in, the moment that you touch down to the moment that you leave is an experience that I want you to have. It's an impact of what I can do to help you remember some sort of nugget, remember some sort of content, remember a person you met, a relationship you created, because it's etched in there. Just like it is when we were a child and, you either went to the sidewalk and you engraved your name or your initials, or you went to a tree and you did something and you go back to it hey, and you bring your kids or your significant other, be like, hey, look at this over here. You made an impact inside of them. And so to me, that all in is literally wanting them to have that experience. And the biggest thing is it's in the details. It's in the little things. Their chairs, their couches, what they're going to eat, when we have breakfast, how we get them to rise up, how we get them to clap, all these little integral parts. When I put the speakers, I have you right after lunch because you're a great speaker. You bring energy. You bring emotion. It's one of our hardest times to have a speaker is because they just ate and all of a sudden they've been running around and then they sit down and it's just damn, this guy's freaking a nut. This guy's crazy, right? But it's all done. So
who's that guy eating pizza on stage? Yeah. What's happening? What's going on?
People are when he looked at me, he's just why is he eating pizza? I'm like, I don't know. It's Jim.
Pattern interrupt, right? I've got to focus on those little details. I've got to get people to be right because repetition. Song comes on, give a high five, go right into a speech. just like every other speaker before that, right? So for me, I'm sitting there and I'm going, what analogy can I use? What prop can I use?
Yeah.
How can I grab that attention?
Yeah,
because
pizza was great.
If I'm sitting there and people are like, what is this guy doing? Well, now they're paying attention. And then, okay, this is different. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
Trying to figure this thing out.
Why
Right?
does he have a whole pizza pie with him?
I know that pizza was damn good too.
Yeah.
I could have ate the whole thing.
I was a little jealous.
All those little details I believe can correlate back to everything in life, right? And we live in such a fast-paced world. How do you specifically slow yourself down to focus on those little minute details in order to create those miracle micro moments?
So being a football coach, to me, it's very simple. It's in my calendar. We don't pay attention to the details in the calendar. We don't slow down. Like I have freaking walk 15 minutes in my calendar because Gary Keller said, I remember he says, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. I'm going to say that again. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. It's so important to understand that because because life happens throughout the day. Things take place. And how many times people say, God, where'd the day go? Holy smokes, I can't believe it's already 4. So to me, it's like it's in the calendar. You write down, pay attention to the details, talk about the details, get in team meeting details. All right. Like literally when we go through it, my team, I have 5 virtual assistants that work for me. And the team comes in and they all have their own jobs. And it's all part of when I coached football. You have a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams. Inside the offensive coordinator, you got a wide receivers coach, a running back coach. In the defense, you got linebackers, like lineman coach, like everybody. And it comes from the military, okay? Militaries do this where you have a platoon, your general and sergeants, they're in charge of these people, they're in charge of these people, because the chief of war, chief of staff, only talks to no more than 5 people. Because they've studied that they can't handle, your brain can't handle more than 5. That's why I only have 5 people that work for me. And they each have their own job. And so when I do the run of the show, like we go from the start the day before, breaking it down. So I challenge those that are listening, do the same thing to your day. Break it down. I'm going to get up at 4:30. From 4:30 to 4:45, I'm getting water. I'm taking my vitamins. I go outside now. Dave Goggins says to go outside right away. So now I go outside. I let the dogs out. But now I used to just open the door and be like, hey, go, come back. Or don't come back. No, I tell them to come back. But I go outside now. No matter what the temperature is, I go outside and I also go barefoot because it gets you in touch with the ground, gets you grounded. Little things. And it's all broken down. So just like we do with an event, every 15 minutes, every little thing, who's getting the bus, who's getting lunch, where they're walking in, what door they're going into, all these little things are done. So that way when things go crazy, my goal is to not look stressed. My goal is to not be like disheveled, like, oh my God, he's running around with his head cut off. And sometimes, to me, it's a compliment. Like, man, you got this well managed and put together. I'm like, that's because it goes into the prep work. Being an Eagle Scout, our motto is be prepared. In football, Bill Belichick did this with the Patriots. He was part of the military.
My Patriots, let's go.
Oh, they're doing really well. They're going to the AFC divisional playoffs. But the thing is they pay attention to every detail. Here's a situation that could take place. And when this happens, like for the event, it was Jackie, who's our event coordinator.
Unbelievable, dude.
She's great.
She is a rock star.
I told Mike Gassner, I said, Mike, I think you're out of job. But she was like, I would go to her and she knew what the plan was of who the backup was to be able to get to either a music or anything else, an audio type of thing. So, I think it's just mapping it out is the easiest answer, but you got to do it daily. So many people work on their calendar. I'm going to do my calendar today, Brock. I'm going to do it. 3 days later, they're not doing it anymore because it's hard. It's a pain in the ass. I do it every single morning. I write down my calendar, and it's broken down in 15 to 30-minute increments from when I wake up until when I go to bed. And, well, not really when I go to bed, because after like 6, it kind of like got kids and like life happens. But so for those 14, 15 hours, it's pretty scheduled.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love that because it's so important. And I think one of the things that I've learned over time, which I totally agree with you, is that 15-minute chunk, right? And what can you actually accomplish in 15 minutes? When you add a calendar to your phone, right? And it's automatically puts an hour, right? Like on your calendar. And I just leave that stuff. But what's really important to me is breaking it down in those 15 minutes, because you can accomplish so much, whether it's meeting with your staff, meeting with Jackie, your event coordinator, meeting with your VA team. That 15 minutes is so impactful because you can really just make magic happen. You don't need a full 30 minutes. You don't need a full 45, a full hour.
What I told them at the event, I said, just get up 15 minutes early. Getting up 15 minutes early in your morning will transform your morning because you're not chasing, you're creating your morning.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. You got on stage at the end of the conference yesterday, and you and your girlfriend, Wendy, were just being real, raw, and honest about how hard events are, how hard it is to get over 100 individuals, to get the hotel booked, to schedule the happy hours, the VIP, the Preds tickets, all those things take a lot of time, attention, and effort. And there was a thought that maybe you wouldn't do another one of these. Maybe you may slim it down, do it small, do it local. Can you really dive into the difficulty of pulling off something this massive for over 2 days straight in a different city? Like, talk us through the raw, real truth of what goes on to accomplish an event like this. I really want the folks to hear the effort, the relentlessness, the strategy. Like, so much goes into these events, and I think the world needs to really understand the depth, the time commitment, the energy that goes into this. Can you just talk openly and real and raw and just get a little vulnerable with us?
Yeah, no, excuse me, my wonderful voice. And if I say something too, feel free to cut me off, because there is a lot that goes on to this. And doing them every 6 months, is another challenge in itself. Like Wendy's like, wait a minute, how soon are we doing this again? Wait a minute, we just finished this. I think there's just like in basketball, Phil Jackson would say, most important parts of the game where games are won are the start of the first quarter and the start of the third quarter. And so I use that in strategies here for creating events. Like today on our drive back home, I'm going to be on the phone quite a bit, following up with people. This is the best time to really engage them to get them to the next event because they're still feeling emotion. I learned that from Nick Saban. Nick Saban, after they won the national championship game, he would celebrate with his team for 20 minutes. After he get done with the press release, he would go into the locker room and start being on his cell phone, calling all the high school recruits, saying, do you hear this? We just won the championship. Do you want to be here with us next year? And I was like, damn, that's good.
Dude, I got goosebumps when you said that.
I was like, wow, that's a really good idea. So that's what I do, is they still have the energy. They still have the feeling. Do you want to miss out in New Orleans? Did you like what happened here in Nashville? Did you like this emotion? We're going to do it better and bigger next time. Do you want to be a part of that? Because I want to give you the first opportunity to tell me no. And then so these next couple of days are very important in building. And that's called forecasting. I know that I know that there's going to be challenges in the future, but if I have some good momentum and sunny days in the beginning, some wins, and I can book up some tickets and get some energy and flow in, I think we ended up selling 26 tickets last night. And so like those certain things are like, all right, we got a good start here. I got sponsors who already said I want to be part of next time. Like, please call me first for us to do that. So you start packaging wins in the beginning because then it helps out. It's much easier. You can ask any team that wins games. They'd rather be winning from the start than having to chase. It's much, much harder to win. And so
that energy transfer just comes with you as you navigate second quarter, as you get into halftime, and after you have to get back out there and keep it going. Yeah.
Well, you know that because then there's going to be a lull. I mean, your body needs it. Your family needs it. You know, Wendy and I will go on a vacation. We'll do something. So, and we always, this is also very important. For anybody who's doing an event or you're doing anything, it's very, very important to take your significant other, your family, and we call it the calm before the storm. We go away someplace, whether it's a day, 2 days. It's just, we both go into it. And I said it on stage yesterday, like Wendy and I barely talked for 2.5 days. She knows there's expectations, like I'm not going to see him, but I want to be a part of him. And so, like, have those conversations with your significant other. And you need to really do it on a daily basis. So, like, we always say, like, you know, I got this from my parents. She always laughs, like, what's for dinner and what's your day look like? So that way we know. Because many times we just continue to go through our day and we just expect the person at home is going to be like, well, I'm not too sure when he's coming home. And you should know what time you're coming home because, you know, your kids have an end day at school. I'm pretty sure the school doesn't say, hey, we're not too sure when the day's ending. We'll keep you posted. It'd be a madhouse.
I'll keep you posted if you could pick them up at 4 or 5 today. Not really sure.
Right.
Well, you also lose confidence, right? Would you continue to put your kid back in that school if they're not confident, they're not strategic, they're not aligned and playing to a specific schedule? That'd be the fastest. I'd pull my kid out of that school in 2 seconds.
Well, that's what happens in relationships. And so you need to tell your significant other, this is the time I'm going to be home. Make it happen.
Man, I can take a note. No, I got to write that one down. I'd be very vulnerable right now. I am very bad at that.
And so, like, I think to me, in relationships, I learned it several years ago that when I was going through my divorce, we didn't have this problem because I was much acts of service, but we had roles and responsibilities within our family, just like I do now with my kids. Everybody's got, like, you're in charge of the garbage. So you're in charge of the dishwasher. So if the dishwasher's full and I get home, and if my wife was at home all day, I used to be like, what the F? Why didn't you clean the dishwasher? Well, when I knew that my job was the dishwasher, she can leave all the dishes in the sink because that's my job. I'm okay with that because that is my job. But if I go over here in the laundry and that's her job and there's no towels, I'd be like, hey, where are the towels? I could pile them up, though, because that's her job to do. And she want to get mad. Like, that's my job. I'll get there when I get. Don't tell me when to do my job, but I will get it done. And so I think it's very important to understand, like, to set expectations with significant others and everything else. So we do the calm before the storm. But I just, it's really, you know, it is the grit when you get to the last fourth quarter. That's really when it starts to come into play because most people don't get tickets until the very end. You got to get at least a 50% of your ticket quota those first couple months going into it. Builds energy, builds enthusiasm, makes you feel like, okay.
Where'd you learn that from?
You right there, brother. You. And you've been a great coach for me. You've helped me out tremendously in doing these events and creating this type of energy and this atmosphere. And just, you know, those last 4 weeks are hard.
Super hard, man. Super hard. But I'm so proud of you, brother. Like I don't say it enough. I am so proud of you. I'm so grateful to call you a friend. I'm so grateful that I had that crazy idea after we met on stage a couple years ago to be like, dude, don't get that hotel when you come in Nashville. Stay at my house. Meet my family. My wife's like, who's staying in the upstairs bedroom?
Right. You guys were awesome. Your family. And I told Wendy, I'm like, yeah, I'm staying in his house. And he's like, okay. You know, for guys, sometimes we're like, I don't care. I'll sleep on your couch. And, but getting to meet Caitlin, getting to meet your family, getting to see your chickens, your dogs. Like I was letting the dog out the other time I was up there. You know, I'm like, hey, don't forget your dog just out back there. I fed him too. It looks like you just throw it on the ground here.
Animals.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, those are like really the key things of just really, writing it down. One of the things too is now that we have artificial intelligence, we do a lot of self-record, like we record a lot and we ask it to take notes. We ask it to put it in a checklist type of thing. That's where we're going to do a lot of that for the next one, because there's just so many different moving parts that go to the event when it takes place. We were talking about cleanup, toilet paper, paper towels. Who's going to follow up with that? The garbage. Like these are things that you don't really think about, but you need to think about, because a woman's going to go to the bathroom and be like, there's no toilet paper, and that's going to piss her off. And then she's going to tell her friend, like, hey, well, I just went in there. There's no paper towels, no soap, there's no toilet paper. Those are experiences that they carry, and it's to the magnitude they go tell their friends as soon as they get out of it. So you got to, like, those little things, and every little thing matters. But to me, it's taking that same concept and putting it into life, putting it into your business. All these things matter. Your client, your listing, your buyer, all these things, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your kids, it all matters. And when you start to stack up all the things that matters with the compound effect, then you start to really move the needle in the direction you want to go.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, last question for you, Brock. You talked about the last week where things ramp up, that fourth quarter. Talk us through how you navigate that, because it's a scary time, right? You put all this marketing out, you put all these things in place, you're getting tickets. Then you hit that third quarter and you hit that low, right? Then you're coming into that last week. Talk me through how you navigate that. How do you stay positive? How do you stay energetic? How do you stay top of mind? How do you just continue to show up day in, day out? Is there anything you do specifically that last week to keep you positive, to keep you in line? Like, I know you talked about you go on a trip with the family, the calm before the storm, but I really want to get in your brain, in your mind, that last week, because that last week is one of the most important 7 days leading up to any event of any size, right? Whether it's 2,000 people in a stadium, whether it's 20 people in a happy hour setting at a bar, right? Like it's so important to stay high energy, to stay positive. Talk me through how you navigate that.
Yeah, man. And great question, because your biggest enemy is between this year and this year. In these moments, the calm before the storm is great, but it's really for the other person, because you're about to go and they're not going to see you. And I mean, it is for both, but you want to spend time with that person before you kind of go on your own little work vacation. In all honesty, it's faith. It's God. Because you can't really understand the magnitude that goes into your head, the stress that's going into there. It really is for those that are listening in, leaning in. I try to do things on my own, but when I let God take the steering wheel, I always I say prayer, whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. But there's some impossible situations right now that I'm not too sure how we're going to become possible. And I really need you to lean in, and I'm going to ask you, God, to help me out right now. And really, that's a big thing. Prayer, I pray, you do your devotions and do everything, but you really become, intentional with your prayer. There's specific prayers. I tell people all the time when they ask to be rich or they want something, I always say, like, ask bigger or be specific in whatever it is that you want. And I said specifically on, I think it was, what day is it? Saturday, before we were driving out here. I said, God, I need a sign to see if I'm doing this again. because I don't want to. Like, it's very hard. I'm not seeing what I thought I would see. And I don't know really what it was that I was going to see, which brings me to like something else to have people think about. Like, what is your vision? What is it that you want? And I didn't really have any clarity in what that was. I kind of have a little bit of clarity because, you know, you want your ego to be like you're on stage and there's all these people cheering for you, high-fiving. And honestly, and not to sound arrogant by any means, but that's somewhat easy to create when you have energy in the music and people are there, your friends. Like, that's easy to create.
That's not the true talent of why you're doing it and how you're showing up. That just comes along with the big show energy, I call it.
Yeah.
Big show energy, you know?
Exactly. It's the little things. And God really showed up for me because like so many people came up to me at very intricate parts of throughout the journey of the 2 days. I'm tired. I'm still not 100% certain that I want to do it because I was just like, I don't know, this was still a lot. But it was just little conversations from different people that I never even had conversations with. At the very end, even one person, Gary Ashton with his team, she comes up to me. She's like, you don't know me, but this event was life-changing. I just got in real estate 3 months ago.
Goosebumps, dude. Full body goosebumps right there,
Yeah.
man. Woo!
I was just like, really? She's like, yeah, going through a hard time. I didn't think this existed. I was like, what? What's this? This type of atmosphere where you have different speakers, spiritual, faith-based, like, and even somebody said, like, this is like my family, Brock. I was like, wow.
I got a text message from D. I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Today. And I was just like, yes, this is like such a pure moment with someone that I just built a relationship with. You know?
Yeah. You say it all the time on your podcast show. It's like the impact that you make and the relationship that you build with the people around you or the strangers you're becoming into your friends. And everything that's out there, to me, it's my relationship with God, my prayers that I have, and how he continues to show up for me in my most challenging times, which keeps me going.
God made you special, brother. And you're a special friend to me. And I'm just grateful for you.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
getting choked up thinking about it, man. The impact that you have, what I've watched you do on those stages, those conversations, it's just pure. And you've impacted me. You've changed my life. And I'm just so grateful to know you, man. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast and getting up at 5:30 and rushing out of here to go pick up your kids and drive another 10 hours. It truly is special, and you are changing the world, man. Thank you so much.
I love you, brother. Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate you getting up early too, because I'm sure when you're like going to get the medicine, you're like, damn, I told them I'd do a freaking podcast this morning.
But that's the thing. You make a commitment. Those words come out of your mouth. You show up, especially for people you love. So thank you again, brother.
Amen. Thank you, man.